Oh, yes.
This is the first time we're appearing on video of any sort, especially together, in about 7 years. Yeah, just to put that down. That's crazy. The fact that we're actually doing a camera thing, I feel like we never. We're just out. It's out in the. We hope we look bad. It's all hitting me right now. Like, all right, good.
You guys have been a band since '93. What was the mindset when you guys were doing Kiss Kiss Bang Bang? And
have fun, be assholes,
play hardcore shows, play post-hardcore, play hardcore shows, and put out an EP. If we finally could put out an EP, we tried to make an EP so many times. One time I was in the hospital and they went to record and what's the name from Trip Bass sent you guys home? It wasn't tight enough.
No, that was.
Or something crazy. I remember we tried to make an EP in the late '90s, late '90s. We were so young.
It was Andrew from Kill Your Riders label.
Oh yeah, right, yeah.
They sent us. There was like a local college in the studio, and we went in there, and the guy was like, "Dude, get the fuck out of here! You guys suck." And that was a great learning lesson.
What did you learn from that lesson?
That
you better have your shit together if you're trying to really record and really do it.
And if your band members suck, you
don't know how to play guitar. Yeah.
That started the cycle.
Yeah, totally.
At what point did the band become a serious effort?
The whole time, kinda. Right? I mean, we were kids, but in high school. But at the same time, we always the only.
I think there's a misconception when people use the word serious, or people always go, "When did you go on hiatus?"
We're still not serious.
Because we're still not serious. I mean, technically, if you're thinking
we've always had fun with the music, and we take it seriously. But there's never been a goal to go out and tour fucking 8 years in a row and follow, write, record, tour, cycle, and do it again, cut and paste. Like that was never an intention.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's not like we've got less serious. It's just, we kind of fell back into our life routines, and it's always been as serious it is now as it was in 1993. Just not serious in the terms of chasing a fucking fantasy fucking plaque for most toured shitty venues and records sold.
I think he means when we were younger. Did it get to be a serious band and not just us being young playing hardcore? If you mean in terms of quitting our, I think he means in terms of Glassjaw's a real band, because I mean it got
think
to
since
that point.
day one.
That's exactly what I meant. I felt like me and this dude were obsessed with Glassjaw since we were the day we met. We wanted to start a band, and we were obsessed with doing nothing but playing things together, weird things that most people we thought would never like. Pretty much we were so obsessed. Literally, we were obsessed with Glassjaw like it was the only thing in our lives the entire time.
Yeah.
But wait, I was going to say something else great. It's fleeting memory. It's gone. But if you mean when did we quit our jobs and dumb shit like that, not that we quit our jobs, but when it was we can't work, we can't go to school right now, we're going to tour. That was probably 2000, and that was then.
Yeah.
Was there ever a focus of wanting to get signed?
It was taboo. It was just in the world we came from. It was taboo to get signed. And in fact, when we got offered to get signed, we told the guy to go fuck himself. And he had to do a song and dance and convince us to fuck the next 10 years of our lives.
I did an interview with Ross Robinson early this year, and I mentioned you guys, and the first thing he said was, "Oh, the Kings."
The Kings.
Oh my god!
Thanks.
When in retrospect, when you look back at working with Ross on your first record,
Kings of comedy.
Where did you learn from that experience working on the first record with Ross?
One thing that definitely I learned was to make things convey. You watch shit about dudes who make films, and they're like, that'll look great on film. And when you're watching dudes make movies, it'll be like, that'll translate so good onto television. The dude definitely knows his medium in that he knows that the way he makes records, he knows that audio and really heavy music coming across on a record, you have to exaggerate it, much like with making TV. I think you have to really wear this color and act like this so that on TV these huge motions look normal. And I think he knows how to definitely I can give him credit for being a guy that gets young dudes in a room and knows how to make it however he goes about making it. It goes big, and he makes it get big, and so it translates onto records as fucking nuts. And I mean that's something I think we always liked intense. But I definitely will say it went from a tame intensity of working on these songs, like the song Major on the first full length. Me and him worked on that for a while, and then Manny was in the band, we played it for a while, and this in the 90s, and it was a song that we were really into. It had this New York City post-hardcore sound, and then we got with him, and we were really focusing on, technicality and playing tight, and this rhythmic soul feel with this post-hardcore thing. And then getting with Ross, it really became fucking intense. Like the music got super intense, and he made it translate onto records. Now, I mean, who's to say that if we went on that road of like maybe the things that we were doing, where it was intense in a different way, who knows if it would be as successful or not? Who knows? I'm sure we'd be happy too. I think that Ross definitely that adds to things. The fact that he knows that like on fucking tape, this shit is gonna sound nuts if you do these things. Maybe that's one thing I definitely learned from Ross.
I actually, he's like the one that like made me think about, or showed me that like it's important to listen to what everybody else is doing. As far as your band members, because I'd been in bands before, and all I cared about was like, how cool is this part going to be that I'm going to play, or whatever. And doing pre-production for that record was the first time.
That was the realest pre-production I think I've ever been a part of. We started playing,
big and serious. We started playing that song, Everything You Ever Want to Know About Silence. So we're playing the song, and Daryl's singing it the way he normally sings it in practice, but everything was loud in the room. So he raised it up an octave, and Ross stopped him, and he says, wait, what did you do? And he goes, I couldn't hear myself, so I went up an octave. And he says, did you write it in the lower octave, or did you write it in the higher octave? So I wrote it in the lower. He goes, and that's the way you should sing it. Now, the rest of these guys have to pay attention to that, and if he can't be heard, and if his message can't be heard, then it's worthless. So you all have to play the way he's singing it. You have to convey the same image. And it was the first time I was like, okay, it's important to listen to what everybody else is doing instead of just paying attention to what I'm doing. You know, that's what Ross taught me.
I learned that you have to do a recording budget for minimum $500,000.
At least.
And you have to fuck up your cars, your rental cars, because you're not paying for it anyway. At least not now.
We got into an accident in that fucking thing.
Oh yeah.
Did you guys know a lot about the music industry when you started working with Ross?
I don't know a lot about the music. Yes.
We knew it sucked.
Yeah, we knew we didn't like it.
We knew it sucked, and it was filled with a bunch of pieces of shit.
We don't know about the music industry,
but we took the bait.
Yeah, you take the bait, and you do learn a lot about the music industry. Honestly, we do know. I feel like we know a bit about how a lot of the fucking bloodsuckers work, and a lot of how people work in the crazy industry we're in. I don't know. It's definitely a trippy industry, and it's like almost like I don't want to be a part of that industry. I think there's ways to make art be
self-propagating.
Sure, self-propagating. To be self-involved like I am, like the Valley Girl I am. And, no, but like I think there's ways to do it outside of the quote-unquote industry. If you're playing the industry game, then you're fucking starting labels, signing, I don't know, blog house artists, you're signing fucking screamo bands. There's ways to do it, to be a part of the game, to be a part of the race, and then you're saying, you're resigning to being in the race. And like I don't think anything I am a part of musically or what we do together especially has any place in that. Especially now, it's so far down the line. What do we don't want to be a part of that?
No.
Over all the years that this band has been a band, are there particular moments that stand out, particular high points?
Of course.
High points, I would say, when did we start with the new lineup?
2005.
I think around 2005 when we realized that we're not in the cycle, we don't care for the cycle, and we came back to play music because we wanted to, not because we had to. And I think that was a highlight for me.
Things definitely drastically changed in 2005. Yeah, that's a high point. I feel like definitely picking like these are the four of us that make this really happen. We trimmed a lot of excess stuff emotionally and just like personnel and just in a lot of ways. Narrowed it down to a bunch of dudes who have the same vision. We listen to a lot of the same things. We listen for a lot of the same things in music. We like a lot of the same things. When a certain thing happens, when we're playing some things together, or when we're writing music or whatever, like a thing will happen. It'll trigger our ears. We'll look at each other. We like it. That's a thing we like. We like a lot of the same things. We like a lot of crazy rhythmic things. We like a lot of big walking bass lines. We like a lot of noisy guitar. We like what we like. I mean, I think that it really all got really focused and streamlined in 2005, and the band definitely became. You think about we're friends with dudes that were in big bands when they were young, and they look back and they're like, yeah, but we sucked. Yeah, it was great, but it was like we really weren't a good band. You look at Glassjaw, and I think we weren't like an amazing band, but we did really interesting sounding soundscapes of weird things because we like weird things. I don't think we were like, holy shit, you see those dudes fucking play? But I think as of 2005, we all kind of banded together and like really focused, and I think that we play better than we've ever played, and it definitely was very apparent when the rehearsals in 2005 started to me.
What about you, Manny?
Like a highlight moment?
Yeah.
Miller highlight,
First time we played Brixton.
and the first time we headlined Brixton. Those two were like two for me
The first
too.
time we played Brixton, opening up for Deftones, it was the second show of the tour. We played the day before in Amsterdam.
We
And
sucked.
we weren't very good.
Amsterdam was such a bad,
And the kids,
show.
yeah,
My
and the
strap
kids,
came on.
the kids did
Oh,
not
God,
care
the
at
show.
all. Next night, Brixton, sold out. We're terrified. Record's not out yet. They're gonna hate us. We have guitar amp problems
Guitar amp
in the
explodes.
beginning of the set. So there's 5 minutes of feedback.
Right,
We're thinking
plug
this
it
is
in.
the worst thing in the world. First note of the first song starts. Kids singing, every kid in that place singing along.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that was the best shit ever.
Shocked.
That was the best day of my life. No doubt.
Shocked.
Dude, we took cameras. I have the photos of me on stage being like, ah, ah. Like, it was the craziest shit we ever saw.
So was that the first time a huge crowd sang to your songs?
That size.
Yeah.
That size.
Yeah.
That size.
Like, in Long Island, it was like, Glassjaw played to 1,000 people.
Yeah.
There was maybe 1,500 people around the building at that point. That was like absurd one time, maybe like a record release for the first full length. But then Brixton Academy was like, it's the best day of my life.
Yes.
That was pretty cool.
Wow.
Brixton was the best shit ever, man.
Were there points in the band though that maybe you questioned being in the band or wanting to pursue it?
I would say we all questioned a lot the second we got signed, and not to bring names or shit into it, a lot of other people's objectives kind of jump in front of your objective as a band wanting to play music. Once people get hired on and this and that, and people invest their money in you, and it was just very you're young, you're confused, and a lot of people are pushing their agendas on you.
Or one cat signs you and puts all his homies in his like peer group on. Like, we signed these dudes. They're fucking 10 years old. Like, and
giant
here,
referral system.
this dude's here's the referrals. You're gonna use it like not like let's talk about what the concept of a booking agent or a blah 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 is. Like, it was like this cat, and we weren't mindless motherfuckers. Like, we definitely were like a part of it, but it was really like a lot of it just was moving so fast, and like
And if you
everybody
ask,
puts
and
their dudes on, and you don't know
and if
when
you,
you're that young.
and if you
it's a
asked,
job
you
referral
were
system.
scolded that you were being a selfish dick. So
The label would say that to you?
People
No,
would.
just people. If
Some
you go,
people
"Why
that would be screwing you, or like clocking cash off you, and you don't even know it. You don't even know it because you don't even know it's a thing happening that people could clock cash off of. Like literally, it's happening,
Why is this guy
and you're
your
just
manager? Why is this guy your lawyer?
like, yeah, and like you step back, like, and then you turn, 19, and then you're like, all right, and then
That's
like
it.
you get a little older, and you're like, wait, get the fuck out of here, man. So much money's going to all these people. So much little is
And
happening
you
for
walk out
me.
with 15 grand after 2 years. So a lot of shit like that made being in a band more stressful than our own internal artistic fucking battles. Like, it was everything else but the fucking band of the music that kind of make it shitty.
So once the money got involved, once the label got involved, the funds started.
The second we
Going
got
down.
signed, it just
It started to change, definitely, at that point. Definitely.
Yeah.
There was a lot of fun. I mean, we had
fun.
We had fun, and we were lucky to be able to do a lot of the things we got to do, definitely. Like, I don't lose sight of the fact that, like, it was a hardcore, at the time it was like a hardcore band. Like, we were playing heavy, like, weird kind of music. I don't know. It was just like, I thought we were really lucky to get to do what we did. Granted, we played like 700 shows in like fucking a year, and like we were playing to like, I'm just like, why is this happening? Like, there was just things happening that weren't. A lot of people weren't doing what maybe they're holding up their end of the bargain, so to speak. And then if you're just like, there's a lot of things that happen. You're young and you're in a band, and then there's other people sticking their fingers in it, and then cats just like demanding shit. Shit happens. Anybody who's been in a band can understand it. Me having even trouble saying it is just even. If you're watching it and you're in a band and you hear how I'm explaining it, you're just like, I feel you.
When you're before you sign, your band is in control of their fate, so to speak. They take the tours they want to take. They They do the things they want to do on their own time, the way they want to do it. As soon as you sign, as soon as other people are involved,
You're part of
you
the
lose
trade
it.
and barter system.
Yeah, you lose it. You completely lose it.
That leads me to my next question. I've read a lot about Roadrunner and your guys' experience with it. Mostly quotes from you, Beck. Can you describe that for me? Talk a little bit about what exactly happened.
The sum is, again, I think there's a lot of aspects where bands come in, they don't understand basic business and basic fundamentals of you give, I need to give back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if we were deluded and didn't know how to fucking work a calculator, I could understand that maybe we're just being brats. But in hindsight, you know, being a semi-responsible adult and looking at the requests we had and the results that we got and the shit that we put through, it was just again, we were like, I'm a walking cliche. And, like, all the things that they put you through were just making you feel like you're a tool bag for asking civil requests.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of everything was just hard. Everything was fucking not right, without, again, even talking shit on those people. Just everything was just not right. And the worst part was when you're in a place where they don't even want you, but out of borderline spite, you're kept there. But at the end of the day, all major, I'll say major in size labels, you know, unless there's a real artist running it or a real artist in, like, the inner workings of the label, it's going to be the same no matter what label you go. Any major label on this side of the fence, that side of the fence, they're all the same. Because it's a bunch of people who aren't good business people reading Excel sheets telling you what the fuck you should do. Like, they have the formula to make you successful.
You want a large label, right? Like, if you're a major, you're trying to be a bigger label and keep growing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You want to sell records. In a day and age where records don't sell anything, what are you going to do? Sign lots of integrity? Like, you can't sign too much shit with integrity. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's just, like, doesn't work. And then even if they do, then they're just, like, it's some tax write-off shit, or they're just, like, having it to have it. They throw it out there if it sticks against the wall in the first 30 seconds. Like, it's cool. If it doesn't, then, like, it was just, like, whatever, we have it later. Like, you don't get your record back.
And
we'll keep you, you know.
The problem is a lot of these people have no job security,
Mm-hmm.
so they're not thinking about your security when they make their decisions on that side of the fence.
Of course.
So there's, and as an artist, on the artist side of the fence, you just feel slighted, and you feel like there's a lot of just, again, just cliche moves that they'll do, you know? They'll
Mm-hmm.
hold back a song when you're even off the label that you can't do it, but then they'll manage to re-release that song on a fucking bullshit remaster 10 years later that no one gives a fuck about. So, like, shit like that, it's like, why would you do that? It's just in poor taste. So,
What do you think about the reissue of Silence?
I think it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
The whole thing was embarrassing. It's like,
So bad.
it's like, why would you do it? Like, you ran some EQ on it, and then you ran off demos that were never made for public consumption, and you put it on it as if you were releasing a new song.
It's just like, it hurts. It doesn't, you know, honestly, it kind of just
It's
affects
spiteful.
everybody. It's spiteful, and they're just like, shit, you know, they're just like shoddy, I always thought, as a label, so like, it doesn't shock me, and it's like, we're struggling, so it's like, they do what they need to. The more you have to struggle, the more shiesty shit ends up happening. That's just from your camp, you know, that's just the way it is. Because you're struggling, trying to keep your head above water so you don't give a fuck who you're, like, poking, you know. But, like, it just makes it a bad look for the label, because they're putting out trash. Like, the shit it doesn't really sound right. And there's bad shit on it. Like, it's shit that was, like, demos or, like, recording us, like, literally, dude, there's shit that's, like, recording us rehearsing. Like, why are you putting that out? That's a bad look for us. Like, that's a bad look, and it's a bad look for that. Like, you're putting that out?
And also the fact that song was...
And then like, you know...
When we finally when we bought ourselves out of Roadrunner,
Mm-hmm.
I went to Warner Brothers and wanted to release Convexuoso. Backstory that I'm assuming you're asking about.
Yep.
We went to put out Convexuoso, and they said, no, you can't because there's a re-record clause. And we were like, we never put it out. And they're like, no, we have a demo of it, and you can't put it out now. So they just kind of flexed the bullshit technicality. Then we couldn't put out our song, which was part of the conceptual album that we wanted to do. And then 8 years later they have the audacity to put it out and try to capitalize on it when no one gives a fuck about a bad demo. So it's a bad look.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
This totally changes the subject, but I've heard a lot about that you guys are writing new material. I've heard that there's an EP. I've heard that there's a possible album.
There's music recorded, and again, we're just kind of in a state we don't know. We honestly don't know. Again, we're in a state because of decisions we did when we were 21 years old, and we're just kind of waiting and just hoping everyone does the right thing. And I don't know.
Well, where do you guys want to go? What do
We
you
just want to put out music. We
That's
just
all we
want
wanna
to put
do.
out music. We want to put out music. That's it.
Yeah, we don't need radio hits. We don't need a radio department. We don't need anything crazy. We just want to put out music. For Sunday night, he calls up and is like, "Yo, I got an idea," and we record it. And we want to put it up by Monday morning. We just want to be able to do stupid shit like that, and just do it for the spontaneity, and do it for the art, and do it for the fun.